Hey there, comic book fans. This is Travis, and this is my next edition of No Capes. Doing something a little different today. It's a nice, snowy, wintry day outside, so I thought I'd come outside and share a little bit of that, a little bit different atmosphere. Unfortunately, all the neighbors are running their snowblowers today, so we'll see how this works out. It may be enough of a roar in the background that I decide I'm not going to do this. At any rate, just a skip of snow today, not a whole lot, nothing too exciting. But anyway, I just thought I'd do something a little different. Gonna move around here a little bit while I talk about some of these comics that I read. First up, I want to talk about Hellblazer 286. This is the final issue where we deal with the evil trench coat. Constantine finally tracks the thing down. Not only does he have to deal with the trench coat, he has to deal with the New Jersey hitman that's been hired by the U.S. Mafia to, well, get rid of Constantine. Conveniently, he can do both things at once. The trench coat loves him, as sick as that sounds. And so basically, how he deals with the mafioso guy is trench coat basically crushes him like a bull constrictor, and he gets his coat back with all of its foul nastiness and whatnot. That we discover that over time the trench coat will actually absorb the blood and whatever else is on the coat, and it goes inside of it, which is kind of cool and kind of twisted in its own right. We also find that Gemma is now sleeping with Epiphany's dad. Why is she doing that? To kind of get back at Constantine and to go, hey, look, if you want me to quit sleeping with this guy, you need to get me in contact with my mother. Well, her mother is in hell, and Constantine really doesn't want to talk about it and really doesn't want to explore that, of course, because going to hell is a pretty nasty excursion for him. But by the end of the comic, he decides that that's what he is going to do, that he's going to venture off into hell. It's going to be interesting. I continue to love this comic. The current creative teams that are on it are just outstanding. Peter Milligan's always doing the writing, which is just absolutely stellar work. He's always got something interesting to say. You wouldn't believe after 286 issues that there wouldn't be much ground to cover, but he continues to give us something interesting to read and look at. Continue to love him being, Hellblazer being married. I think that's a great thing that he's added to the comic. The writers, not the writers, but I mean the artists that are on this, there's, I believe they're both Italians that are working on it. I won't even attempt to butcher their names. They do outstanding works. The pencils and finishes on it are just great. And when they take a break on it, it's got Simon Bosley tends to do most of the work, and he does the covers. Love his work also. It's just a really cool style, and it adds a lot to the comic. This next arc's just going to be fabulous, him going back to hell and seeing what that's going to be like, because I'm really curious about his sister. You know, his sister went to hell. What's that about? Why doesn't he want to talk about it? And what are we going to find out? What is Gemma going to find out that she's so eager to know about and so far doesn't really know and wants to know? You know, that's the one thing that's bugging her. She wants to know, why is she there? What deep dark secret has she been hiding? So that's going to be really interesting to see. I look forward to talking about it. Next, I want to talk about DMZ number 72. This is the final issue, the last issue of this series. 72 issues. It was a fabulous, fabulous run. You know, but it did run its course. This last issue, I don't know that I'm happy with the way this ended. And I don't think it's just me being bummed out that the comics ended. I think I have a problem with it also. At the end of it, in issue 71, Maddie basically takes the rap for a whole bunch of bad stuff that happened. Yeah, he did some bad things, but he takes the rap for being a nuclear terrorist. He takes the rap for basically supporting Delgado and all of his behavior. And I don't know, that bothered me. It bothered me that he would take all these lumps and nobody would defend him, right or wrong. I don't know. Brian Wood seems really happy with the ending of it and the way that lands. I guess it bothers me. I like Maddie too much for him to basically get to spend the rest of his life in prison and supposedly thankful he didn't get a death sentence. To me, that's just kind of bullshit. And I don't know. Not real keen on that. This final issue was kind of a letter to a letter to the city, we've been reading about all this time. You know, everything is pretty well back to normal, things are cleaned up. There are a few memorials. It's written from a perspective of a person reading Maddie's book. Maddie's written a book about it, not that he's getting any money on it, but just to talk about what happened and the city itself and whatnot. I like that in that sense, but you know, I don't know, like I said, I'm still kind of bummed out by the whole, you know, Maddie take the big lump for everything. I don't know, that just seems a shame that the character would go out that way, would go out thinking that he was a bad guy when I don't think as a whole he was a bad guy. I look forward to in March, Brian Wood's is going to be at Emerald City Comic Con, and that's the one Comic Con that I go to all the time. I look forward to getting to meet him in person for the first time, and maybe if I'm lucky I'll get asked some questions around that. Maybe he hasn't moved so far beyond it by then, on with his new projects, that he's not willing to talk about it a little more. Anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to as far as that. But still, I love that series as a whole. It would be something excellent to pick up in trades. I definitely would start from the beginning. The middle has got the best issues in it, but I think you need to see the whole story to really appreciate the whole thing that's there and whatnot. Okay? Next, I want to talk about a newer title that's coming out right now that I don't think is getting near the attention that it should be getting. That's Spaceman #3. This is such a great comic. It's interesting, it's different, it's a slice of near future. Of course I dig near future stuff anyway. It is, the diction, like I said before, the diction that's in this thing continues to just absolutely fascinate me. I love the way they use some of the language that's in it and whatnot. That's pretty fun. Orson, our main character, our main spaceman, he saved this little girl that's part of a reality TV show. Man, the reality TV show looks like it sucks. The producers pretty much control everything, and because they control everything, they've got this whole mass media thing to try and get this little girl back. Whether they're genuine about getting the little girl back or not, I don't know, or it's just good ratings. But Orson saves the little girl. They get back to Orson's home. Orson's hiding her because he doesn't think she's safe right now. He's not sure exactly what it's going to take for her to be safe. Orson has some more dreams about Mars and some of the other spacemen that are there. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do because their projects have all been blown up. Another person there, another spaceman, another monkey man named Carter, does some exploring and finds gold. And so I'm curious to see what kind of issues there are with that. What we also find out is that Carter is in the area also now. He is alive and he is a bounty hunter, and he has been hired by the I don't know, the Arab Sheikh or whoever this guy is that's got all this money, that was hired the bounty hunters originally to capture this little girl so he could basically have his way with the little girl. As horrible as that sounds. So Orson picked from that, and so this guy's coming after Orson. Of course, he doesn't know it's Orson he's after yet, but he's been hired to collect this little girl. Little girl is hiding in Orson's house. She's not real smart. She exposes herself to a bunch of people. She answers the phone and talks to Orson's, you know, kind of cyber prostitute friend that he talks to, and she also answers the front door, and all the kids that talk with Orson all the time now realize, oh crap, here's this girl, and that's where the issue ends. So it's going to be really interesting to find out exactly all these people who know that she's there. Are they going to say anything? Who's going to get exposed? Who's going to get hurt? And how's Orson going to deal with it all? Seems how Orson's, you know, kind of a simple guy, just trying to live a simple life, and this has kind of complicated his life a whole bunch. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is Severed #5. This horror comic is building like a horror comic. In this issue, Jack finds out that his friend Mr. Fisher, who he's on the road with to go and find his dad, is not a pleasant person. You know, he gives him the whole line about being on the road. You know, it's kind of rough. You're your own man. You got to do your own thing, and that's all fine. Until one night, they're at a restaurant, kind of a, I don't know, nightclubby bar kind of a restaurant, and Jack potentially gets himself in trouble with some people trying to squeeze him for some money for supposed prostitution, even though that's not really what's happened. And Mr. Fisher goes to help him. Well, his way of helping him is he basically scalps one of the guys, you know, and basically kills him. And then that night, you know, Jack's pretty wound up. Mr. Fisher basically drugs Jack, puts him to sleep. He thinks something really bad's going to happen, but that's not when it happens. What ends up happening is he wakes up the next morning, is looking through some of Mr. Fisher's stuff where Mr. Fisher's there, and he finds out that Mr. Fisher has his billfold, you know, after supposedly Sam's the person who stole the billfold. So now we're going to find out exactly why it is that, how he's going to figure that out. How's he going to deal with this? We're coming down to the last issues. So it'll be interesting to see now that he realizes that Mr. Fisher has his billfold. Maybe Mr. Fisher did something with Sam. But that's where it's left out, with kind of a, uh-oh. The realization that maybe this is not as sound as it all is supposed to be. At any rate, that's this edition of No Cape. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope the snowblowers in the background weren't too annoying. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.